All right, guys, TotallyRandie here. Now, if you have been following me, okay, you know that I have been talking a lot about sickle cell. Well, despite the staggering $1 billion cut in NIH grants, a devastating blow to sickle cell research, the field is far from defeated. There's a powerful resilience that has actually emerged. Today, we're talking about that resilience that has emerged, and we're talking to Dr. Lakia Bailey. She is the executive director of the Sickle Cell Consortium, and they have a new campaign called We Are the Cure. And I'm going to bring her in so that we can talk about it. Hey, Dr. Bailey.
Hello. Thank you
Thank
for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining to talk about this. I mean, devastating blows to sickle cell research, devastating blows to the grants that have helped so many warriors that are battling this horrible disease. But we're not here to talk about the bad things that are happening. We're here to talk about the resilience that you guys are basically taking a lead in. Let's talk about your We Are the Cure campaign.
Oh, wonderful. And I appreciate that because right now everything is absolutely devastating. But you're right. This community has a type of resilience that you won't see except in people that have had to go through and are continuing to strive and survive. We Are the Cure is an initiative that we actually created quite a few years back. It started as a training initiative to help our organizations understand how to respond to requests for proposals, how to write grants, how to execute them, how to disseminate funds. But it had a very real underlying source. We are the cure when it comes to bone marrow and blood transfusions and organ donation. A lot of times individuals need to get these from members of their own race. You have to be HLA match or blood type match, and blood type you can find everywhere, but bone marrow and organ donation, there has to be a much closer match than simple blood type. And so We Are the Cure was birthed out of a way to encourage individuals, particularly Black and Brown individuals, to donate marrow, to join the marrow registry and to donate blood, but also to consider being an organ donor for individuals like a good friend of mine, Tahira Austin, who is in need of a kidney. The fact that you often have to get these kinds of things from inside of your own race means that we, those of us that are Black and Brown, can be the cure to sickle cell disease through bone marrow transplant and through saving lives through our own donations. So that is what We Are the Cure is about. It's about promoting this and the necessity of joining these registries. And it's actually quite easy. I'd love to share a little bit about that.
Absolutely, please. Very groundbreaking. It's a huge groundbreaking campaign.
Oh, thank you. So it's a simple for bone marrow. You can join the registry and potentially be the cure for someone waiting on that registry, like myself, by swiping your cheek and mailing it in. And the way that you do that is you could text SC3 to 61474. And if you do that, they will respond to that text, and there's an intake questionnaire. And if you are able to qualify, they'll send you a cheek swab, and then they're going to test you and match against those others in the registry. I've had family to do it. I had a cousin to do it. Unfortunately, she was not my match, but she did match a stranger and was delighted to be his bone marrow donor. A little bit jealous, not going to lie, but I was so glad and honored that she was willing to do that and to be the cure for someone else. And so it's a very simple. When it comes to my friend Tahira, she needs a kidney. Now, kidneys are a living donation. You can donate as a living donor. And if you are not a match with her, she is high up on the list, but she's in desperate need, and they have had very much difficulty finding her a kidney. So she is actually part of a program where if you match someone else and can give them your kidney, the very first person available that matches her will get that kidney, even if there are others still above her, because you have done that donor transfer with her. So anyone could help and potentially save her life. She's an amazing woman, an amazing advocate for sickle cell, and she needs us to save a life. That is why we created We Are the Cure, to promote stories like hers and to encourage Black and Brown people to enter that bone marrow registry.
Absolutely. And I love that you talked about that match part because again, for those of you who are watching, if you follow me anywhere, if you've seen me talk to Dr. Tamia Austin of the As One Foundation, I am, very passionate about sickle cell, and sickle cell disease disproportionately affects African Americans in our community versus our counterpart community, right, versus white people, basically. And that Be the Match specifically has this statistic that Black patients only have a 20% chance of finding a match
Mhm.
donor compared to the 79% chance for white patients. And for all of you out there that says, oh, sickle cell don't affect white patients, yes, it does. It is
It
a
does.
blood disease. It is a
It
blood
does.
disorder. It is not a Black and brown disease. And so that's why it's so important, right, Dr. Bailey? Is because
Absolutely.
there's a gap.
Massive gap. And we are at the lowest of not just white, but other races. We are the least likely to find a match. I have been attempting to look for one since 2020, and it is a very, very difficult thing. I had a match, if I can share, but this was a complete stranger who, when it was time to donate, changed her mind. It
Mhm.
broke my heart, but I understood. I do want to share with those of you that might be considering this that Be the Match, formerly known as Be the Match, they're now the National Marrow Donor Program, does have a program where your expenses will be covered. You will be reimbursed for lost time from work, travel, lodging, anything that you might need to donate will be covered if you are able to be a donor for someone. And the bone marrow donation process is actually quite simple now. It's taken peripherally from a vein. And so it's just a very simple way to save a life. And those statistics, you're absolutely right. I tell people all the time sickle cell is a blood disease, not a Black disease. There are all races with sickle cell disease. And those numbers, despite that, are so different depending on race.
And Dr. Bailey, I do want to talk about two things really quickly. The first one I want to talk about is, let's go back to that bone marrow um, transplant. You know, back in the day, and I'm glad that you said that technology and advancements in medical practice has, helped us out. A lot of people have in their mind how bone marrow transplants take place. It's a huge needle. You're on your stomach. It goes into your back. Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit, about the upgrades and updates to the bone marrow transplants?
Absolutely. And there are movies that sensationalize it, and they'll show a kid being held down while
Right.
a needle, I think it was a House episode, a needle was driven in his back, and they're extracting bone marrow and they're screaming. And it definitely sensationalizes it. There
Right.
are some transplant types that do require direct aspiration from the bone marrow, but a person is numb. You're not feeling this. You're not experiencing the way Hollywood would sensationalize this experience. But a lot of times you can actually draw it peripherally from veins. So they'll give you a particular medicine, which will encourage the cells that are needed to start floating around in your vein. They draw it out, filter it, and boom, there is what you need for your transplant. So it is still done directly from bone in some situations, but
Mhm.
not all. And it's not that Hollywood needing to see someone screaming. And it is an amazing sacrifice, something that we are grateful for without the torture and the misery. And so you're absolutely right. It does not look the way people think it does.
And how long can you expect to be down um, by donating bone marrow?
It depends. If you're doing it peripherally, no time at all.
Hmm.
If, however, you are doing a direct bone, you are encouraged to rest for the next 24 hours before resuming activity. And again, those that is paid for. If you need to be traveled somewhere and stay at a hotel for the night, things like that, they Be the Match or NMDP, National Marrow Donor Program, has funds that help cover the loss of wages and things of that nature.
So the second thing I wanted to talk to you about, Dr. Bailey, is,
Mhm.
when it comes to sickle cell, because it's not something that people can see, right? It's not a disease that people can actually look at and say, "Oh, you have sickle cell, you must be in pain because I can see it." Can you,
Mhm.
as a warrior, I'm looking at you right now. You look phenomenal. You're a beautiful lady. We've met each other. We've talked to each other multiple times. We've met in person. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. But please tell our audience, what this disease actually does and some of the things that you go through.
Oh, absolutely. This disease is absolutely devastating. And you're right. You can't often look at a person and know that they have sickle cell. Some people claim they can, but I don't know what they're basing that off of. I think that some think that all individuals with sickle cell have severe jaundice, the yellow eyes. Some do, but not all of us. Sickle cell there's a heterogeneity of symptoms, which means if you lined 100 of us up, we would all look very different in how the disease showcases itself. So, genetic illness, it is a single point mutation. It causes the blood cells to be curved and sickle shaped, hence the name. Those sickle shapes get caught in small blood vessels. They cause all kinds of traffic jams in the highways that move nutrients and oxygen around your body. Because of that, it can lead to organ failure, tissue death, and extreme vaso-occlusive crisis, which is when the veins stop delivering oxygen and it's extremely painful. It is among the worst pain I've ever felt. Friends of mine that have had lots of children with no medical help, basically had to deliver partially at home, say that the pain never compared to a standard sickle crisis. I've been walking around on a shattered knee, fractured for months, and I had no idea because it hurt, but it didn't begin to compare to what I'm used to. So it never occurred to me something is seriously wrong. That pain is devastating and it can come and go. We are often, as you get to be my age, in chronic pain because so much damage has been done systemically that I experience pain every day. But when you're young, you might see a child running, playing, having fun, and 30 seconds later on the ground screaming in pain. In those cases, it's often easy to want to believe that child is faking for attention, but that is how quickly it happens. Excruciating, intense pain. The blood isn't flowing as way it should in certain areas of the body. The oxygen isn't being delivered. Tissues are starting to die. The entire body is reacting. Brain is on high alert. Something is severely wrong. Attend to this. And so you often can't tell. And as we get older, I've had bilateral hip replacements. And the very first doctor I saw didn't exactly know what he was doing when I was a teenager. So I actually have a limp now, a permanent limp that I forget exists. And until somebody, usually somebody really old or somebody very, very young, points it out that you walk funny. And it's like, oh, yeah, I limp. This is why the disease can cause all kinds of external symptoms, but you can't look at a person and know that one's on oxygen, that one limps, and that one has a pacemaker because of sickle cell, because we're all so different in the way it expresses itself.
Oh my goodness. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being so strong. Thank you for being a warrior, and still fighting for others, even though, your donor dropped out. You didn't let that, and I'm pretty sure you experienced sadness, depression, all of the things, grief, right?
Mhm.
But instead you still decided to, again, let that resilience emerge and continue to fight. One of the quotes that you said, Dr. Bailey, is bone marrow and organ donations are not just acts of generosity, they are acts of justice and equity.
Mhm.
What does that mean to you?
Because it does, there's such a disparity between the treatment of sickle cell disease, not just in this case, but across the board. If I go into the hospital right now, I will most likely be accused of drug seeking. And I have to be very forceful to get standard care. That's not just my story or the story of 10 or 100 or thousands. It's almost all of us have similar stories of being denied care in hospital settings and being assumed that we're faking, that we must be drug seeking, that it can't be that bad. That is the fact that it's so many speaks to a culture in medical care. Do not believe your patient, particularly sickle cell patients, they're lying to you. Being able to access care is not something, even right here in America, that is accessible to all women, that is accessible to all minorities, and it is compounded when you have sickle cell disease. These be the cure and bone marrow and access to these things. It is a matter of equity. Our recognizing that we can be the cure for someone else is also recognizing that that life is just as important as that one. And so I think that, and I genuinely believe that we have to stand up and to do these things to demand and fight for equity and justice for those of us living with all kinds of diseases, because it's not just sickle cell, but sickle cell does seem to be at the epicenter of a lot of injustice. I tell people all the time, the chronic pain patient, we were not the authors of the opioid epidemic, but we are its victim. We are the ones that they are now withholding pain care from and blaming the opioid epidemic. When, if you look at the statistics, those that started that epidemic look nothing like me. We're not its author, but we are its victim. And being able to access care in any way, being able to access a bone marrow transplant, being able to let our family, our friends in our community give us that organ that saves our life, it is an act of extreme heroism. We are so grateful for those that do this, but also equity and justice.
Absolutely. Dr. Bailey, thank you so much. I know you have another call to jump on because you are really doing the work. She is out here putting feet to pavement, you guys, doing the work. If it's okay with you, Dr. Bailey, I would like to literally do a call to action right now. So, for everybody that is watching this call to action, and tell me if this is approved, Dr. Bailey, my call to action would be I want every single person that is watching, I don't care what platform you're watching from, I don't care if you're watching this from my story, if you're watching this particular section right now in this interview of me and Dr. Bailey, I want you to text SC3 to 61474 and simply just start by the swab process to see if you are a match. That is the only thing I want you to do. You don't have to agree to be a donor right now if you do become a match. I just want you to simply see if you're a match. That is the only call to action I'm asking you for. Of course, if you are a match, we would love for you to donate, right? But I am going to do it as well. I think I've already done it, so I might already be on the registry because I've talked to you, Dr. Bailey. I don't know if I can do it again or if I can do it from another phone, but I just and I'm waiting, right? I'm waiting to see if I'm a match. But I want everyone who is watching right now. Call to action is text SC3 6 to 61474 and just begin the process to see if you are a donor. The last thing I want to ask you, Dr. Bailey, before I let you go, is some people might think that, oh, swabbing my cheek, that's going to give them my DNA, and they're all scared about that. What do you say to those people
I
watching?
would say that this is a very different situation than those that sent in their swab to ancestry.com and all these other companies, some of which are undergoing a bankruptcy and your DNA is now at risk, things of that nature. This is a medical procedure. It is protected by HIPAA and your DNA sample is destroyed. We have done all kinds of research into this, checked out the companies, particularly Be the Match, that we are assured that this is not happening. Your DNA is being destroyed. They are checking it. They're creating your profile. They are destroying that sample, and then your profile is within the system. And you can always reach out again, even if you think you're in the registry, by texting again. They'll let you know if you're already in there. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at the Sickle Cell Consortium. We can be found at sicklecellconsortium.org. And there's more information about this and all of the other initiatives that we are working on there. And if you're living with sickle cell, reach out to us. We do an annual Warriors Convention. Last one, there were over 600 people living with sickle cell disease joined us in Orlando, Florida. It's a wonderful time. So reach out if you are a warrior as well. But if you are not, I heartily approve this call to action to please reach out and sorry about that. You're right. I do have another call, but to reach out and text SC3 to 61474, and you might be my cure or someone like me.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey. You guys, I understand that we are fighting on all fronts. It is a lot going on, and we are fighting on all fronts, okay? But as you guys see, Sickle cell is a very, very, very painful disease that kills, you guys. It kills, just like breast cancer, just like all of the other months that we march for and we run for and we support, okay? Sickle cell needs our support right now. And the only thing that we need you to do is text SC3 to 61474. In the words of Dr. Bailey, representation in the registry save lives, you guys. It's a life-saving work. Okay, so tune in with me next time to see who I'm talking to. I am Totally Randy, and I am out.